This is a 1B14 out of its shell. Now, it doesn't look all that impressive when it isn't all shiny, does it? If you put that down, it locks. When I first started looking at the 1B14, I was concerned about these mechanisms because they're all complicated. It looks like something could be fouled up very easily, but it doesn't really seem to be the case. The mechanisms seem to be pretty much bulletproof. Part of the reason they're so bulletproof is because of how hard the metal is and how little actual use it gets. Now, in here we have a copy of the timer. There's a little difference. The bimetal strip in this one has been bent, and the reason that I bent it is to make it come over even faster, hoping to get some white toast out of it because Sally likes white toast. However, in the process of fiddling with it, I burned up an element. Hey, now one beef, I played with several of them, and one of my biggest breakthroughs came from speaking with Mr. Joseph Parle in California, who was Mr. Toaster of the Bay Area. He was a fix-it man, a handyman, I guess, and he repaired toasters particularly and small appliances in general. And he gave me some tips on dealing with various Toastmasters. And I eventually figured out from what he told me and from what I was able to deduce that this is the way they work. Now, right back here, you can see this little nut that the tip of my finger is touching. That is the lighter darker adjustment. And if I screw it out, you can see it moves quite a long ways when you move it. And that's how long it takes to make the adjustment. Now, the early models, like the 1B12 and early 1B14s for that matter, didn't have that little nut on there. They were just, I guess, not adjustable. Now, you can make out the little crossbar there. You can see that sliding back and forth, and that's the whole thing. What you can't see from here, unless I pull this timer out, and I might do that, is the little piece that this has to slide past. And if it won't slide past there, then it won't work at all. And so the great temptation is that you need to screw that nut out closer and closer, further and further that way, because if you do, then you suppose it's going to go off sooner. It won't. What it'll do is it'll go over far enough that this piece won't be able to slide to where it needs to in order to activate. So what you need is for that to get there sooner. And I accomplished that by bending this. However, as I was fiddling with it, I burn out the element on this side that's missing. Okay, we're back. Another great installment of how to fix the 1B14. And it would probably do you more good if I had a video showing you how I ruined the 1B14. Because while I was messing with it, I decided very cleverly to try to make some toast without having the shell on. So of course I had to put the guide wires in. And the problem with having the guide wires in, that there's nothing to secure them if the shell's not there. And so one of the guide wires got against one of the elements and burned it in too. So now, thanks to Mr. Toaster, I've been told that the way to fix this is to take a little piece of tin can and to just crimp it over the splice. You can see that little spot there, the little bitty square that I put into the line. Now, in order to get the element, the nichrome strip, long enough, these little pieces in the edge have to be notched deeper in order to get a little more slack out of it, which shouldn't really bother the toasting ability of the thing any. The only question is, does this actually work? And the only way to find that out is to reinstall it into the toaster, put the toaster together, and see if Sally's toaster makes white bread. Okay, got the 1B14 put back together. So it wasn't very difficult. I'd like to have been able to show you on video, but perhaps we'll do a full breakdown and reassembly in some later video when I have somebody to actually film me doing it. But I have all my little insulators in. I have all of my guide wires in. I double checked them very carefully. And what I wanted to show you was what I had come up with for putting on the shell, because it seems to be a little bit easier than what I've done before. First, grab your shell, make sure that the wide spot is to the wide spot on the toaster, then bring it down over the top, wiggle it on there, and you've got to get past this and then move it forward. Now, I didn't think if this was turned all the way in. It appears to be. Okay? There we go. It does seem to be easier to do it with the toaster sitting on the table. And once you've got it there, the key is to not let the shell get separated from the frame. Once you've got it complete, you can just roll it over and put screws in. While we're talking about that, these things, little Ziploc reclosable sandwich bags, are the ultimate for doing this. I've had this project apart for a couple of weeks till I had time to get to it. With the little Ziplocs, keep everything nicely separated, and what I do is I use one Ziploc for basic disassembly. The screws that come from just getting the shell off the frame. All of that goes into one Ziploc. Then, after I get into it, if I have to do other parts, I put those in separate bags. For now, I'm just going to finish putting this together and we'll see if it works. Okay, we're zoomed in for some reason. Boy. At any rate, so I got it back together. I'm ready to conduct the test. Let's just get with it. It's on its lightest setting, and the thing that hopefully will happen here is that it's going to make completely white toast. And a normal person wouldn't want that, but Sally does want that, so that's what we're going for, is completely white toast. And we'll just see what happens. Okay, so I've now tested it with the lightest setting, bringing it to just pretty much white. There's a little bit of color to it. There's scarcely any color at all. You can see a little bit there. And now I'm trying it on its darkest setting to see what it does. Obviously the element repair that Joseph Perot, Mr. Toaster, recommended worked just fine. Seemed kind of crazy that it would, but you know, there you go. The toaster is making toast. What more do you ask of it? Here is the brother to the 1B14. The older brother is the 1B12, the 1B14, the 1A1. This is the one that started it all. The first of the consumer grade pop-up toasters. And if anything will make better toast than a 1B12 or 1B14, it would be a 1A1. Now we'll see. This may make bread flambé, and actually it's kind of likely to, because maximum setting on these things is pretty maximum, typically. There we go. Okay, so maximum setting comes up. Look at that toast. That is some excellent toast, even on maximum. So I would say this toaster is ready to go.